Hello, everybody. It's the Palat family. We're back again, and we have Mia with us today, our beautiful and loving baby girl. She did just have surgery. If you saw our last video, I explained that Mia was going to be having a minimal procedure to give her a more long-term and permanent feeding method. So basically what they did is just created a small incision in her stomach and covered it with an apparatus that looks sort of like the closure on a beach ball. It's just a little clasp that allows us to attach and detach a tube when we feed her. And this is going to be a lot easier for us, a lot safer for Mia, and she won't have to have the tube, taped to her face all the time. We're just so happy to be rid of that nasal tube. But before I go on though, I definitely want to thank everybody who has supported us. Those of you who offer your words of encouragement, your prayers, those of you who have donated, and those of you who intend to donate in the future, as well as those of you who have committed to come out to the event this weekend and support us, to lend your talent, and your help. We are so thankful to all of you. When we first started this journey of recording, our experience with Mia, we were skeptical about how we would be received, and judgment and that sort of thing. But for the most part, it has been an amazing experience. It has humbled us, and having people, watch you and be a part of your life, can be difficult because of the judgment, like I said. But for the most part, people have been able to relate, and I've had women write me and tell me that I inspired them because they've experienced similar things and weren't able to talk about it. So I'm just glad that we're able to help, because for the most part we're asking for help, and we're in need. So it feels good to know that we're actually giving back to people in some aspect as well. So I definitely wanted to get that out of the way. But yeah, Mia is doing great. She's healing from her surgery. Right now our main focus is, again, just raising funds so that we can get a second opinion about her blindness. Her current insurance, which is Medicaid, I want to specify this because a few people have written to me and asked me, if she gets disability benefits and that sort of thing. And so, yes, Mia does get Social Security benefits, of course, because she's completely disabled. And she also is under a branch of Medicaid for, babies with special medical needs. And so that does offer us a lot more resources than a typical healthy baby, but it still comes with all of the red tape and limitations that Medicaid has in general. So for instance, with us going to see the eye doctor, they basically just told us that she's completely blind and that they don't expect that to change. And so they don't want us to go back to an eye doctor for a year. And that just sounds absurd to us because, first of all, when she gave us the diagnosis, it wasn't very informative. She didn't tell us what type of blindness it was. I know we talked about last time how she was really cold in delivering the news to us, and so we didn't have a chance to ask, the questions that we want to ask, because we believe that Mia is not completely blind. She does have her eyes closed for most of the time, so getting that diagnosis did explain a lot of things to us, but at the same time, she does open her eyes and she does focus. Sometimes, like when we're speaking to her or trying to make her laugh, she is able to focus in our direction. And she she's not responsive all the time, and I can tell sometimes that she's not able to, zero in on a certain object. She doesn't really grab things or anything like that, but I believe that she may be able to see shapes, potentially just shapes and maybe variations in color, light, and that sort of thing. So those are the kind of questions that we would like to be able to ask, because we want to do everything possible to accommodate this disability, because if there is anything that we can do, of course, we want to give Mia a life where she doesn't feel disadvantaged, by her medical conditions. I just want her to still be able to have the quality of life as any other child. We don't want, Mia to feel like she has a disability, or for us to, smother her. She'll always be our baby girl because she is, my only child. She's Felix's only girl. So we'll always spoil her, and we'll always be there for her and protect her. But something that I've noticed with a lot of people with disabilities as they get older is that they really, really, really want to be treated as if they do not have a disability. They don't like for people to intrude and to help them, when they don't really need help. And it's hard for people to, have discernment sometimes about what you should do, if you should help them or if you should stay back. But those are the things that we're gonna have to just work through. And I know my family has a lot of difficulty with that because they don't get to see Mia a lot. And they, of course, hear about, her being in the hospital all the time and her surgery. And so those things can be intimidating and scary, and a lot of people don't know how to handle it. So although, it does hurt me in a way that our families aren't as involved, hands-on, as we would like. Felix and I don't really get a break, when it comes to providing care for Mia. We don't, get to go out or do anything like that. His mother has kept her a couple times for us, but for the most part, we understand that people are hesitant and apprehensive because of her condition. But if we were able to learn, how to administer her medications and, just deal with her in general, then I feel like anybody can learn, because I was, a first-time mother having Mia, but I was also having a child with disabilities. So for me, it was really difficult, but I always remained open-minded and tried to soak up as much information as I could, because like I said, I still want her to have that same quality of life. I don't want her to be around her cousins or other children and feel like, she doesn't fit in, or, that she's too different. So anyway, like I was saying, that's definitely why we want to go ahead and get a second opinion on her blindness. Before we even found out about that, though, because that is still something new, before we found out about that, we were still wanting to be able to offer better medical care as far as her brain anomalies and the condition Holoprosencephaly itself. It's a very rare condition, so we want to be able to go to different specialists, to have access to doctors that see patients with more complex needs. Medicaid is sending us to, it's basically a group of specialists that are all affiliated with one another, and all know each other, and they kind of work together. And that can, in a way, it's good because, they're all familiar with her and they can exchange information and that sort of thing. But at the same time, I feel like when they're dealing with Medicaid patients, they only want to do the bare minimum. They only want to do the bare minimum. Because Medicaid doesn't always, pay out on their claims like maybe other insurance agencies. A lot of health facilities, are hesitant when it comes to accepting Medicaid patients because they know this is a state funded, policy, and that, they can, go through loopholes or find any way that they can to try to, not pay on a claim. So I just don't want Mia to be subjected to that, and for that to be her only option as far as having access to medical care. So that's why we're doing the campaign and asking for money. I know that when it comes to people asking for donations and that sort of thing, people also, they want to be sure that they're giving to, to something legitimate, that the funds are going to be used the way that, we're telling them that it's going to be used. And I can assure you that Felix and I plan to be very transparent about how we're handling the money and everything that we're doing for Mia, because she is and has always been our first priority. And so we're definitely going to put our all into, getting better medical care for her. The event that she's having this weekend, before I go on and on about that, the event that she's having this weekend is a benefit dinner. It's not going to be like your typical fundraiser where you just come out and buy a plate, give a donation and leave. This is actually going to be a program that an outreach company put together for us. Apostle Jackie Johnson and her church group have an outreach. And so they volunteered to host this benefit dinner for her, and there is going to be free food, all sorts of variety. I know that they have been reaching out to restaurants and grocery stores to donate, and they have really good relationships with these people. So we don't want anybody to come and feel like they have to pay to eat, or that it's all about money, because this is actually going to be a program where you guys will be able to ask us questions. We're going to give our testimony again, and really explain to everyone what we intend to do with the funds and how we want to continue to promote awareness for blindness and a holoprosencephaly in the future. We definitely don't intend to just stop at our $15,000 or $20,000 goal. We would like to eventually create a foundation if possible, and that way we can actually help other families that are in similar predicaments. So I just wanted to remind you guys about that. So there's also going to be performances, praise dancing, I know, singing, poetry, that sort of thing. It's going to be a very enjoyable event. I would like to look at it as sort of a celebration that Mia has made it, to 1 year when, this baby wasn't expected to live for 1 day, 1 week. So we definitely want it to be a celebration. And just a way for everyone to get more information about exactly what's going on with Mia and exactly what her needs are at this time. So, do you have anything to add?
Are you, Mia? Do you have anything to add? Pretty much everything, but I'm sure Mia has something to say if she stays up.
She's so adorable. Do you look like mommy or daddy? Huh, Tutu?
Yeah, so for those who can, come out Saturday, have fun, because that's what it's all about. And just